Welcome back to the Southern Scene on WSAB and MyLC. Well, guess what? We're back in my kitchen, and I have one of my favorite people here. Of course, Vera Stewart of the Vera Show, and she's here to help us out because guess what? We want to make sure that we are heart healthy, and you know that's so hard to do sometimes, Vera.
Absolutely, and you know they think, well, we've got to leave off all the desserts. No more desserts if we're going to be heart healthy.
Well,
but that's not true.
How can we do that? I mean, especially during the things that we go through during the year, and you have to always have desserts for your guests, or you walk in somewhere and there are desserts. How can we prepare a dessert that's easy to do, that it's going to taste delicious, and it's going to be heart healthy all at the same time?
Well, you are describing Angelfood cake.
Oh, I love Angelfood cake.
It's one of my favorite desserts.
It's also very light.
Well, and you know, all those years that I had Vera, and of course I was known as the cake lady, this was the one cake that I could not make and ship, because needless to say, it would have been flat as a pancake because of all the air and being in an airplane. So this is truly one of my favorites because I haven't made it a zillion times, and it is so light, it's so delicious, and you can make it as light as you like, or you could incorporate other things into it, embellish it with some yummy things that we're going to do in just a few minutes, and make it a little on the sweet side, but still very healthy because it's made with egg whites.
Well, I'm so excited we're doing this because this is something I've never done. My mom has done the Angelfood cake, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, but this is something I've never done. So let's get started.
Well, it's very easy. You know, people think that's a hard cake to make because they see them in the bakery at the grocery store, but it's really a simple process. When you get ready to do an Angelfood cake, most importantly, you want your eggs at room temperature. You want to be very careful when you separate the egg white from the egg yolk, because the fat in the yolk will prevent the egg white from going all the way up into that meringue state.
So that's a very important step. Separate the white from the yolk.
Exactly. Now, you're using 12 to 13 eggs to make this cake, Natalie.
That's a lot of eggs.
So you're going to have 12 to 13 yolks. So in another segment, another time, we'll come talk about what to do with those egg yolks, but don't throw those away.
But this is protein we're talking about.
Absolutely. So now you're going to sift all of the dry ingredients. So it's not hard to do, but it might take a little bit more time. Go ahead and sift that flour, even a couple of times. Sift the sugar with it, because believe it or not, there are lumps in sugar sometimes. Cream of tartar is a very important ingredient.
Cream of tartar?
That's what makes the stiffness in the meringue. It just adds a little bit of punk to the egg white. All right, so as you're incorporating it, it's going to take quite a bit of time for the egg yolks to be. Then start adding that sugar very slowly, because you don't want the egg whites to get limp.
So you don't want to just dump it in there?
No, just very slow process. And then in terms of your pan, you can use a pan that's an Angelfood, just the center part of the cake pan is very important. They also make the ones where that comes out. So either or, it doesn't matter. Cooling the cake after it comes out of the oven is another thing. If you've got the one that has a larger opening in the center, you know, I'm sure you remember your grandmother having it on top of your granddaddy's whiskey bottle to cool.
Absolutely,
you know, so maybe dress it up and make it a wine bottle instead of a whiskey bottle. But cooling the cake, and then it just really takes a knife and it just comes out, you know, very easily.
Now, how long do you cook a cake?
Well, it's low and slow.
Low and slow.
So, you know, depending on the recipe and how big of a cake you're making, you know, all of that's incorporated. And we have this recipe on our website at vera.com. So if anybody would like to make this particular cake, they can go there for the recipe. But once you've got that done and in the oven and out, this is where, you know, as I said, you can make it as light as you want. There's nothing better than just this with whipped cream and strawberries. But what if we put a surprise in the center?
Oh, we're going to fill it?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're going to actually fill the Angelfood cake.
This is where the serrated knife comes in very handy, and you're going to literally just cut the cake.
Like right in the middle?
And just take that lid off.
Okay.
And now, we'll put that over to the side. This is where you're going to make a tunnel. So you're going to take that same knife and you're going to start a serration all the way across.
Now, Vera, you're not going all the way down.
No, I'm not going all the way down.
Just about halfway
But I'm
through.
just really making a tunnel. But this is where your filling can be either light or go a little bit, jump over the cliff and put a little bit more in it. But I like to recommend, you know, everybody loves strawberry shortcake. So use your Angelfood cake, whip up some whipped cream, add a few of your strawberries to it, and let that be the center. Then put the cake back together. Then this is where the icing part, you know, on your traditional icing, you want to make sure that, you know, you've done a crumb layer. So you're going to want to take your spatula and start with a very thin layer that you go all the way around. And that kind of gets those crumbs kind of locked in.
Right.
So that when you come back.
Nobody even has to know that your cake was cut.
Absolutely. See,
So it's almost like a surprise.
It is a surprise. So it's like the party favor. In fact, you could do this almost like, you know, the king.
Unwrapping a
the
gift. You
king
take your
cake.
fork and you go, or your knife, you cut into it, and oh my goodness,
This
I
is
love
where if you wanted to do, you know, one person gets a little favor and slide their slice kind of like a king cake, then this could be the way you do that. And so this does have, you know, even the whipped cream doesn't have very much sugar in it, just enough to lightly sweeten it. You're getting an authentic dessert that wasn't transformed to meet the requirements of healthy, low fat, low calorie. It's what it is, and it's delicious.
And the great thing about it is very light, and it's a wonderful way to be heart healthy.
Exactly.
And according to what you use as far as your ingredients and that kind of thing, but you can do that. So we've created a delicious dessert here. I can't wait to, you know, have a bite of this. This is going to be wonderful. Vera, thank you so much for
thank
joining
you,
me.
Natalie.
I always love having you here in my kitchen.